Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show that covers all things marketing. The GSMC Marketing News Podcast gives you the latest marketing news, from what major businesses have planned for the coming year to the newest trends in advertising, from podcasts, digital and streaming, to the old standbys of radio, television, and billboards. Whether you're a marketing agent or a business trying to expand your brand, you've come to the right place. The GSMC Marketing News Podcast starts now.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the GSMC Marketing Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Mackenzie, and I am so incredibly excited for today's episode. I hope you are as well. Today is a very special Valentine's Day episode of the GSMC Marketing Podcast, so buckle up because we are going to be talking about all things to do with the Day of Love. More specifically, we are going to be talking about marketing the Day of Love, so get ready for that. Before we start today's podcast, I would just like to remind everyone to please subscribe to the podcast and to write a review down below. I really love reading your guys' reviews. I really love interacting with whatever comments or suggestions you leave behind. So it's really important for me to get an idea of what you guys like and what you guys don't like. So make sure you do that before leaving today. So to start off today's podcast, let's talk about what is new in the marketing world. Disney Channel's worldwide head of marketing, John Rood, is set to depart this year. After 3.5 years at the position and 14 combined years at the Walt Disney Company, Rood's attention will now be focused on supporting Formidable Joy, the non-profitable organization founded by his wife, Cindy, which has provided clean water to over 100,000 people across Malawi in school, villages, and hospitals and refugee camps. Rood said, "I am looking forward to devoting more time and energy towards charitable good works, in addition to exploring other ways to innovate the fast-changing media business. I have much gratitude for Gary for the opportunity and such confidence in the admiration for the Disney Channel marketing department." Gary Marsh, who is the president and chief creative officer at Disney Channels Worldwide, announced Rood's departure. He stated, "For all of us who know John, we know that helping others is his true pathway to purpose, meaning, and happiness. All of the things that people look for in life, but are so hard to find. So I have deep respect for his immediate plan, which is to devote more time to his family's philanthropic passion of providing access to clean water in Malawi, Africa." He also added that he believes that Rood's love of marketing will not be forgotten and that he will see more projects with Rood in the future. "I also know he has not come close to exhausting his appetite for leading great marketing programs and teams. So while he leaves and to pursue admirable ventures around the world, I am certain his next chapter will include new marketing ventures back here in Los Angeles." So this is just a really nice story. We talk a lot on this podcast when people leave their positions, and it does always seem a little bittersweet, and a lot of times, we're wondering what they're going to do next. Was there bad blood? But in this instance, it really does feel as though it was a mutual understanding. There's a lot of respect for both parties. And right now, Disney is in the middle of a big marketing change. Right now, Disney Plus is only a small section of the Walt Disney Company. But over the next couple of years, I think we're going to see it grow and expand and become a main part of the Walt Disney Company. So their marketing is going to change and develop. And so maybe it is for the best that they are starting out with a fresh new CMO, although no one has been selected yet. It is also really great that John Rood is departing to work with his wife on something he truly cares about, because if you don't have passion in life, guys, really what do we have? So I think John Rood is just following his passion. Our second story is that the Federal Trade Commission is voting to review influencer marketing rules and penalties. The FTC has voted 5-0 to approve a federal registration notice calling for public comments on questions related to whether the endorsements guide for advertisings need to be updated. The Federal Trade Commission's Rohit Chopra has said that when companies launder advertising by paying an influencer to pretend that their endorsement or review is untainted by a financial relationship, this is illegal payola. Chopra said, the FTC will need to determine whether to create new requirements for social media platforms and advertisers and whether to activate civil penalty liability. Currently, the rule states, when there is a connection between an endorser and a seller of an advertised product that could affect the weight of the credibility of the endorsement, the connection must be clearly and conspicuously disclosed. In the case of social media, that means creators need to note their post is not a part of an ad, sponsored content, or paid partnership. But Chopra wants the FTC to consider making those rules official by codifying elements to the existing endorsements guides into formula rules so that violators can be liable for civil penalties under Section 5M 1A and liable for damages under Section 19. So I understand that I just threw a lot of numbers at you guys and a lot of sections and a lot of facts. But it's really important, numbers, sections, and facts, because we did an entire episode on influencers and how you should be utilizing what they do and how they do it for your company. But there are obviously legalities involved. You obviously want to make sure that you're being transparent with the influencer, they're being transparent with their audience, and that everyone is very aware of the relationship you have built with your influencer, and that they're not saying, oh my gosh, I just love Pillow Puffs because Pillow Puffs is the best pillow in the entire world, and they've never slept on one before. So you always want to make sure that you're being honest and that you're being very black and white with if you're paying them or if you're not paying them to say that. And that's basically what they're trying to get the law to say now, but they're trying to make it a little bit more clear so that if you do step out of the bounds, you could be liable. So it's just something to pay attention to if you are working with any influencers right now, or if maybe you're going to be considering that as a part of your 2020 marketing plan. Definitely just keep an eye on this story. I know I definitely will. I work with a lot of influencers. I also am an influencer for a couple companies, so it's definitely something to pay attention to because obviously we all just want to do our job correctly, but there are laws that need to be followed. Our third story of today is that OWN, the Oprah Winfrey Network, appoints Netflix and TV network vet Jennifer Giddens as their head of their marketing. Giddens will now oversee strategic marketing for OWN's slate of programming aimed primarily at female African American viewers. She will also handle marketing for the network's growing podcast business and work with OWN's ad sales team to forge ties with brands and advertisers. Most recently, Giddens was head of the creative marketing for Netflix Kids and Family Unit, overseeing the creative marketing team and developing global launch campaigns. Giddens has said, I am very happy to be joining this talented team to oversee the network's marketing and to help reach an audience who see themselves reflected in the entertainment by OWN's programming. So again, just a really nice story. We have two really nice stories of just people finding what they want to do with their life and finding new ways to express that and finding new roads to that passion, because we saw it in the first story with the Walt Disney Company, and we're seeing it in this one with Giddens of how she clearly is missing something in her life with her marketing campaigns. She clearly wants to target new people and a new audience, and she clearly has the skill sets to do so. So it is very interesting to see her moving into a position that she finds to be very relevant to her and very relevant to her skill set. It is also interesting, just as like a side note, that Netflix is losing one of their marketing officers, only because we know Netflix is currently in the middle of a really big change. There's been a lot of talk of layoffs going off in the marketing department. So perhaps this is a first sign of people jumping ship before they get fired or before they get laid off. Personally, I don't know. It could be that. I'm not sure. Let me know what you think of this and what you think is happening right now in the Netflix marketing department, because it's definitely going through a lot of changes. And it's interesting as well that Netflix is aiming their restructuring, because we all knew they would be going through a restructuring once Disney Plus hit. It's very interesting that they're aiming it at the marketing department. And I would really love to hear everybody's thoughts on if that's a good idea or if that's maybe a misguided idea. Please write in the review down below or reach out through social media. Okay, everyone, we're going to go ahead and take a short break from the podcast, but when we come back, we're talking about the history of Valentine's Day marketing. Valentine's Day has been around for centuries. I won't say centuries. Valentine's Day has been around for decades, depending on who you ask, but we're going to go ahead and take a look at the actual marketing of the holiday and how it has changed over the years. So stay tuned for that, because you have been listening to the GSMC Marketing Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Mackenzie, and I'll be right back.
Golden State Media Concepts Technology Podcast covers everything tech. The hottest mobile phones, tablets, games. We review it, rate it, test it. Whether you're Microsoft or Apple, Android or iPhone, we'll give it to you black and white. The Golden State Media Concepts Technology Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the GSMC Marketing Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Mackenzie, and today's episode I'm so in love with because it's Valentine's Day, and I just love Valentine's Day. It's one of my favorite holidays, and one of the things I always find very interesting around this special day, around February 14th and a little bit before that, is you start hearing a lot of people talk about the holiday as if marketing created it, as if Hallmark created it. And now obviously there's a lot of legends about Saint Valentine, who was marrying people when it was illegal to get married, and all of that great, beautiful stuff. However, I'm not going to lie to you, marketing is a big part of Valentine's Day. Without the marketing aspect to the holiday, and this could be true for a lot of holidays, especially right now in 2020, but especially for Valentine's Day, without that marketing aspect, we wouldn't know to buy chocolates and jewelry and this type of cards, or that hearts are involved, or that Cupid's involved. That's all marketing. That's all marketing. So I really want to take a look at the marketing for Valentine's Day over the years throughout the history of Valentine's Day marketing, and really try to examine when it started becoming the full show that we see it as today. So it really all started in 1913 when Hallmark, yes, Hallmark was a company, in 1913 produced the first ever Valentine's Day card. And guys, I'm going to tweet this out later, because it's freaking adorable. You guys are not going to be able to believe how cute, how simple, but just how also beautiful it is. It's a little Cupid on like a little buggy that says a token of love, and then to the left of the card it says, to my beloved one, and there's little tiny hearts that are just barely seen in the background, beautiful colors, and it's just a beautiful illustration. And honestly, I got one last year that said, I rough you, with a dog. This one's gorgeous. This is a gorgeous card. So it's definitely interesting to see the difference between the quality of the cards we see now, because now they're being like crazy mass produced, whereas in 1913, the production and the marketing for them weren't as high yet. So they were still these very gorgeous and unique cards that maybe there weren't as many. So if you got one, it was very special to you, and someone clearly put in a lot of effort to ensure that you were having a wonderful Valentine's Day. And that just touches my heart. Oh, that makes me so sad. Okay. 1948, the De Beers Diamond Company launched a Diamond is Forever campaign, sending the message that gifting high-end jewelry can be used as an expression of love on Valentine's Day. So the De Beers Diamond Company launched the A Diamond is Forever campaign right before Valentine's Day, because they knew people were already going to be sort of in that lovey-dovey spirit, in that lovey-dovey mindset. But so far, it really had only been cards that were being gifted. People weren't giving out jewelry. It wasn't even a thought. So them launching this campaign, A Diamond is Forever. By the way, the wording on that campaign is just beautiful. A diamond is forever? What? That's saying, like, okay, a card is going to probably get thrown away in 20 years, but you're not going to throw away the diamond. Also, who throws away cards? I can't throw away my cards. So maybe I'm wrong. Write in the review down below if you throw away your cards, because maybe Hallmark has a pretty good business here of making sure that their cards are forever, just like diamonds, because I have never been able to muster up the courage to throw away a card. Someone put in time and effort. Even if there's just a signature on it, it's important. But I would be more tempted to throw away a card than I would a diamond, because a diamond is forever. Just like the company was trying to say, that's what they were trying to put out there. And it's just so interesting to see that they saw a hole in the marketing world, that they were like, this holiday right now is kind of on the cheap side. People are just buying cards and maybe candy. Let's throw some diamonds at it. Or maybe they got a fresh shipment of diamonds. I'm not sure how jewelry stores work. They got a fresh shipment of diamonds in, and they were like, what are we going to do with all these diamonds? And it was February 12th, so they decided to put out a Diamond is Forever campaign and say, hope people believe that diamonds mean love. Hope people believe that. And guess what? People did. We're going to talk about stats and facts later, but right now the jewelry market, one of their highest points in the year is Valentine's Day, and it all started in 1948 with the De Beers Diamond Company. In 1986, Hershey begins packaging Kisses candies in pink and red foil specifically for Valentine's Day. So obviously candy had already been a big part of Valentine's Day. It was 1986. Valentine's Day was sort of already rocking and rolling. People were aware of the holiday, and you can buy jewelry, you can buy cards, you can buy candy, you can buy flowers. But now we are able to put a brand name to the candy, because who would want just a normal piece of chocolate when you could have a Hershey's individually wrapped pink and red heart box? So what Hershey's did was they saw an opportunity that, although everybody was eating their candy already, they wanted to become the face of Valentine's Day. They wanted to become the brand that is associated with the holiday. Now, a lot of brands have done this over the years. Mini Eggs only comes out in March because they understand that they're Easter's candy. So I think Hershey understands that they wanted to be the Valentine's Day candy. So they changed their marketing, and they changed a marketing campaign to ensure that they became the brand that was associated with the holiday. Very smart and very clever on Hershey's part. In 2005, Valentine's Day began to go digital. Now hold on to this, guys, because it blew me away. On February 14th, 2005, YouTube, which originated as a dating site. What? I had no idea YouTube started as a dating site. Go look that up. It has nothing to do with our podcast today, but I will definitely do an entire episode, or at least an entire segment, on how YouTube started as a dating service. Like, what? That is so crazy, just compared to what it is now. But anyways, they made their debut on February 14th, and the co-founder, Stephen Chen, still credits its invention as the brainchild. The three guys on Valentine's Day that had nothing to do. So that's sort of sweet that they launched a dating site on Valentine's Day. And obviously YouTube is still around today, but I do not think it is associated with Valentine's Day anymore. I mean, unless you're going on there to like rewatch clips from Bridget Jones's Diary on February 14th. Not saying I already did that this morning on February 14th, but you know, who's to say? Who's to say? All I'm saying is it's not a dating site anymore, but the original marketing idea was to release this dating site on February 14th because, hey, that's one of the times that people are the most lonely. You realize that you're single. You realize that you don't have someone buying you diamonds that are forever. So it definitely was a bit of a smart marketing strategy. However, clearly didn't last because YouTube is not a dating site. In 2013, the ride-sharing company Uber rolled out Romance on Demand, allowing users to send flowers on Valentine's Day via the app. The initiative would continue to progress, with on-demand skywriting becoming available the following year. that's insane, first of all, that you're going to order Uber to skywrite for you. First of all, why has no one done this for me? And secondly, that's amazing and very cool and very smart way to use the tech. And I think they are trying to do what Hershey's was doing in the 80s, was create an association in your mind that Uber and Valentine's Day are connected. This obviously didn't go as smoothly as the Hershey's one because Uber is also connected to a lot of other holidays and a lot of other events and occasions. So it'd be very hard for them just to be the ride-sharing app for Valentine's Day. In 2016, Netflix put all their romance movies under horror movies to create a buzz. So the net-based social media analytics program releases a Valentine's Day sentiment analysis measuring how people engage with and discuss the holiday on social media. In total, it measured 9 million mentions of Valentine's Day, with the vast majority of them mentioning a specific brand, Netflix. The top hashtag was hashtag Happy Valentine's Day, which is the hashtag Netflix associated with them changing their romance movies into horror films. If you saw that, you were supposed to tweet it out and use hashtag Happy Valentine's Day. So again, very similar. Netflix saw an opening for them to become associated with something, but rather than taking the lovey-dovey route and taking the pro-couple route, they took the pro-singles route, and they wanted to make a joke of it, and they wanted to market the negative side of Valentine's Day, because there is one. There is a negative side to every holiday. So if you're able to capitalize on it, then capitalize on it, and that's what Netflix did in 2016. Okay, everyone, we're going to go ahead and take a short break from the podcast, but when we come back, we are going to talk about some stats and facts about Valentine's Day marketing. So stay tuned, because you are listening to the GSMC Marketing Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Mackenzie Jakewish, and I'll be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Mackenzie Jakewish, and today's episode is all about LOVE. That's right, we're talking about love, because it's Valentine's Day, and what a better way to celebrate Valentine's Day than with a very special edition of the GSMC Marketing Podcast, where we talk about all things to do with the marketing of this special holiday. February 14th is a terrific day for couples, loved ones, family, friends, and also marketers. I'm not going to lie to you. I work with a lot of different brands, and no matter what, big or small, they're doing a marketing campaign for Valentine's Day. It's too big of an opportunity to miss out on. So really, you need to ensure maybe you didn't do anything this year, but start planning for next year. And you don't have to go big. You don't have to do this huge, grand, skywriting thing like Uber. But you do need to celebrate the holiday, because people really like it. Even if they're single, they like engaging with it, because you can also talk about being single. You can go to the negative side of Valentine's Day. So there are just so many different avenues you can take with your marketing on Valentine's Day that it's really important that you at least attempt to do some sort of marketing campaign on February 14th. If you don't know how important it is, let's lay down some stats and facts right now. According to USA Today, the average amount a person will spend on Valentine's Day, $137. The total being spent on this holiday nationally is close to $18.9 billion, up from $17.3 billion from 2014. On average, men will spend $190 on their significant others, while women will only spend $96 for their significant other. 53% of consumers will opt for something sweet, with total candy spending expecting to be $1.7 billion. 114 million Valentine's Day cards are bought and exchanged every year on Valentine's Day. The jewelry industry is definitely hitting their peak during Valentine's Day. These companies usually bring in an extra $4.4 million on Valentine's Day sales alone. 19% of people in the U.S. buy Valentine's gifts for their pets. On average, people will spend $26 on a Valentine's Day gift for their pet. 34% of consumers plan to eat out on Valentine's Day, making the day the second busiest day for restaurants all year, the first being other holidays that are closer to like Christmas and Thanksgiving. I'm not sure what the exact day is though. Adults aged 25 to 34 will spend the most out of all the age groups surveyed, spending an average of $213. 35 to 44-year-olds will spend an average of $176, and 18 to 24-year-olds will spend an average of $168. Consumers 65 and older feel less need to celebrate Valentine's Day than any other age group, so don't be marketing towards them. So basically, guys, what I just handed you is if you don't have a marketing campaign this year, but you're planning for next year, go back and listen to all the age demographics and the gender demographics and the location demographics that I gave you, because those are really important when you're thinking about creating a marketing campaign. We talked about how men, specifically men between the age of 25 and 34, they're spending more than women are in that age group. So maybe target your ads towards men between the ages of 25 and 34. The jewelry business, the candy business, and the card business are all really big and booming during this time of year. So maybe try combining ideas with them and partner with a card company, partner with a restaurant. Just find ways to network with those companies if you aren't one of them. Okay, everyone, so we are going to go ahead and take a short break from the podcast, but when we come back, I actually have 10 ideas to share with you on different ways you can market for Valentine's Day. So stay tuned, because you are listening to the GSMC Marketing Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Mackenzie Jakewish, and I'll be right back.
Are you a business owner? Someone interested in the latest news that might affect your business? Then check out the GSMC Business News Podcast, a show dedicated to keeping you up to date on all things concerning business, technology, and the stock market. Get a head start on the day as we keep you updated on the latest goings-on Wall Street, money, jobs, and technology. The GSMC Business News Podcast has you covered.
And welcome back to the GSMC Marketing Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Mackenzie Jakewish, and today's episode is all about love and Valentine's Day marketing. I'm not going to be talking about the love for my family, which I do. Mom, I know you're listening. I'm not going to be talking about the love I have for my partner, because I know he's listening too. That's not important. What I'm going to be talking about is my love for marketing on Valentine's Day. And if you didn't run a Valentine's Day campaign this year, I would like to ask why. But maybe the answer is you didn't have a good idea, you didn't have a unique idea, and you didn't want to waste your time on something that wasn't going to be successful. We never want to waste time or money, so I completely understand. But let me help you out. Let me give you something to chew on. Let me help you figure some things out here, because I have 10 big, beautiful, red, pink Valentine's Day ideas for you that I think would really make your marketing campaigns stand out on February 14th and really help you gather up some of that engagement that everybody else is that everyone else is benefiting from. I want you to benefit from it too. So I'm going to give you these ideas. I hope you would take at least one of them. But if not, you can combine 2 or 3. Take all 10 if you want, because some of these are really going to help your business grow and expand in the marketing world. And you're going to be able to get some high sales points on February 14th that maybe you wouldn't have got otherwise. So number 1, run a 2-for-1 deal. So first of all, a lot of couples don't actually like spending money on Valentine's Day on each other. Rather, they would like to do something together. They'd like to pool their resources and say, hey, honey, let's go out for a nice dinner. We're going to split the bill 50-50 because we both just want to treat each other, and we don't want to go out of our way to spend money on a gift that you're never really going to use because it's a Valentine's Day gift. So running a 2-for-1 deal gives you that opportunity, because then it's a way for them to have something together. So if you're a spa, maybe run 2-for-1 couple massages. If you're a restaurant, 2-for-1 dining options. If you're a clothing brand, 2-for-1 sweater selection. They can have matching sweaters. That would be adorable. But the idea here is that you're coupling people together already, and maybe it's not going to be a couple, maybe it's going to be friends, maybe it's just going to be one person buying 2 items, but you're using the idea of couples and togetherness in your marketing campaign, and a lot of people are going to be ready to engage with those sales. The second thing you can do is add some romantic flair to your company's social media account. So this is a very small thing you can do, but it's actually going to make a very big difference. Now, before I say this, let me say it again. I say it every podcast. Stick to your brand. You can do a Valentine's Day version of your brand, but stick to your brand. Don't suddenly have unicorns and hearts and cupids and pink butterflies and everything be pink and red when your colors are black and your main animal is spiders. Instead, take your little spider, put him in some heart glasses, and say Happy Valentine's Day. Maybe get him to make a web that says Happy Valentine's Day, Charlotte's Web style, or black hearts. Send your customers a Valentine's Day card. This is a very sweet way to engage with your audience and to remind them that you're a person. You're not exactly going to get an increase of sales immediately off of this idea, but it is going to ensure that customer loyalty, and it's going to ensure that your name is a part of their day in some way, right? Sometimes people only get Valentine's Day from companies that they're subscribed to. So definitely ensure that if you're able to, send out a Valentine's Day card. Very simple and a very easy idea to pull off. Number 4, ask your followers to share their love stories. Now this one's interesting because it might only work for certain companies, because what you have to do is ask your followers to share their love stories and then find some way to incorporate your product into their love story. Like say you own a restaurant and this couple really loves food, they really love eating, then you can share their love story and put at the end, Tiffany and John have now won a free dinner at our restaurant because we know how much they love food. Now Tiffany and John got a free supper, but then other people are going to read that story and go, oh my goodness, this restaurant understood their story and their story brought them together, and they're going to associate your restaurant with love. And even though Tiffany and John never ate at your restaurant before, and it's not the reason they fell in love, people are going to start believing that it is. So it's this weird trick of the mindset that you're playing with people, and it can be a little hard to pull off, especially if, say, you sell like plumbing equipment. I don't know how a love story would start with that, but hey, maybe that couple exists. Tiffany and John, maybe they met while the bathroom was flooding at a restaurant. There you go. I just combined 2 companies for you. Number 5, highlight date activities with your products. So very similar to the sharing your love story one, but a little bit in reverse. So instead of saying Tiffany and John met here and they're now in love and they're going to be sharing a restaurant here, what you're going to say is Tiffany and John came here, enjoyed our food, and enjoyed our holiday activities we have going on. So it's more of a way to say, if you're not in love, come here and fall in love, rather than they already fell in love and they enjoy it here. So very similar tactic, but very, very different ways of executing it. So you're going to end up with the same product of people engaging with your brand and putting it in their minds that it's related to being in love without ever actually having to have a couple fall in love at your restaurant. But the execution of those two ideas are very, very different. Number 6, create a last-minute gift guide. So last-minute gift guides are all over the internet right now. Valentine's Day is a very hot time to be jumping on that last-minute gift guide, especially if you can put one out a week to 2 weeks before February 14th. A lot of people, although they might not be thinking last-minute gifts, they just like the convenience and the ease of putting together a last-minute gift guide. The trick here is to ensure that most of the gift in your gift guide is your product, but not all of the gift. So say that you are a restaurant. I really like that example for this, guys. Say you're a restaurant. Your last-minute gift guide should include a coupon to your restaurant for a 2-for-1 dinner, but also include a 20% off coupon from the flower shop down the street for that they can buy flowers to go on their dinner. And maybe it will also include 10% off a dessert from a neighboring bakery or something like that. This is a really great way, and we'll talk about it more later, to connect with local businesses around you. That way everyone sort of benefits from it, but you're going to benefit more because it's your last-minute gift guide. Number 7 is bring in a complimentary partner. So this is very similar to the last-minute gift guide, but a little bit more connected. So instead of just having their coupon in your gift guide, instead what you're going to do is, hey everyone, come to Ralph's Pizza for a 2-for-1 dinner, and while you're here, enjoy a free screening of Love Actually, brought to you by our local movie theater. This way the movie theater's generating buzz, you're generating buzz, people are getting a really cool date. It's a win-win-win all around. Number 8, run a Valentine's Day giveaway. So this can be done on social media. It's very similar. You can combine a lot of the ideas we already talked about into your giveaway. Your giveaway could be your last-minute gift guide. Your giveaway could be a 2-for-1 deal. It could just be leftover products that you have. But people just like the idea of winning, especially on a day that maybe they're not winning as much. So this could be a really great way to sort of target that negative side of marketing that we talked about earlier on Valentine's Day. Target the single people. They're lonely. They need a win. So send us the photo of what you're doing on Valentine's Day being all alone, and we're going to enter you into a contest for you to win a free trip for 2. That's a very luxury gift to win on an Instagram giveaway. So you could tone it down a bit. I just wanted to give you guys a fun example. It does not have to be a trip for 2. Or I should say it should be a trip for 1 because you're targeting singles. Number 9. Don't forget about the singles. Like I just said, running a Valentine's Day giveaway for your single audience is a very smart idea, but it's also just smart to make sure that even if you're running a Valentine's Day giveaway for couples, don't forget about your single audience. Probably a large percentage of your audience is single, and maybe they're just following you to get inspiration for when they do fall in love. Say you're a wedding industry and you're a wedding industry. So maybe they're following you because they're just looking for a bit of a laugh on Valentine's Day, or they're just looking for something to distract them from this holiday. Then make sure you're giving that to them as well. Number 10, give back to a local charity. So I see a lot of companies do this on Valentine's Day, and I always think it's really, really great. Basically, find a charity that you like. Make sure it kind of involves love. I know that's a little bit difficult, but the example I really like to use and I encourage people to use is a local animal shelter. If people donate money to the local charity through your company, then maybe they'll be entered to win your Instagram giveaway. But it involves love because people love their pets. It's like we talked about in Stats and Facts. People spend like $30 every year on Valentine's Day on their pets. So it is very important to always give back to charities as well. But I'm not going to lie. This looks good on you too. It's a win-win-win for everybody. Okay, everyone, we're going to go ahead and take a short break from the podcast, but when we come back, we are going to be giving out the top 10 best marketing campaigns ever done for Valentine's Day. So stay tuned for that because you are listening to the GSMC Marketing Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Mackenzie Jaquish, and I'll be right back.
Are you looking for a podcast that gives you all of the latest news from the world of finance? Then check out the GSMC Financial News Podcast. We'll delve into the ups and downs of the stock market, changes in the economy, and news from the world of real estate and technology. From breaking news on the New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ, or the overseas market, to updates on the bond market, if there's money to be made, we'll cover it on the GSMC Financial News Podcast.
GSMC Marketing Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Mackenzie Jaquish, and today's episode is all about love. We have been talking about how you can market your how you can use Valentine's Day as a marketing tool for your company. And if you don't believe me that this isn't a thing, I am going to walk you through the top 10 most famous Valentine's Day marketing campaigns that have ever existed. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to talk about every single campaign you've ever heard of. That's just a disclaimer. I'm going to try to hit the top 10 most famous, and let me know what you think. If I missed any, please write them in the review down below or reach out through social media. Number 1, Tiffany & Co., the Tiffany Tattoo Shop. Tiffany's created a mini site that allows you to select and customize a tattoo. Customize a tattoo that can be used as a sticker on your Instagram post. Each design is based on a classic tattoo style, and Tiffany's asked customers to create their own and share it with the hashtag #BelieveInLove. So this was a really great opportunity for both Tiffany's and a fun thing for the consumers to engage with, which is always something that we want to try to achieve with marketing. Yes, it can be easy just to put out a heart on February 14th and say Happy Valentine's Day, but if you can have an actual piece of marketing that people can engage with, that is going to be better for you and more fun for them, and people are going to be willing to engage with it if it's fun. People want to have fun, especially on Valentine's Day. So Tiffany's got a ton of cute, stylized, and branded customer photos, and each customer has an interactive experience. So this was a really great opportunity to have a little bit of win-win for everybody involved. Number 2, The Body Shop, Sending a Kiss Contest. The Body Shop launched the hashtag Sending a Kiss Contest, asking Instagram followers to send photos of themselves blowing a kiss to a friend. The winner got a gift pack of newly released fruit-scented lip balms for them to send to their galentines. So this was super smart. This was super strategic of the Body Shop because, one, the fruit-scented lip balms had been released on Valentine's Day. So entering this contest meant that you were going to get a sneak peek at their new product, but they were also creating buzz for a product. They used this as a way to both engage with their audience, create a buzz for their new product, and host a really great marketing campaign for Valentine's Day. So they hit all 3 boxes with one simple contest that they didn't have to do any work for. Dunkin' Donuts, Dunkin' Love social media contest. For Valentine's Day, Dunkin' Donuts utilized their social reach by getting customers to compete in a Dunkin' Love Instagram contest that streamed on Facebook Live and had Snapchat geo-filters at certain Dunkin' Donuts locations. You could win a trip for 2 if you entered this contest. So 1, the stakes were high. People were like, I want to win that trip for 2. That's a great prize. This isn't something I'm going to sleep on. 3, they used a whole bunch of different social media tools. They didn't just have it on Instagram. They didn't just have it on Facebook. And they didn't just have it on Snapchat. They had it on all 3. Why have it on all 3? 3 different audiences being able to be reached there then. Not to mention the Dunkin' Donuts Snapchat filter could only be used at the location. So you couldn't enter the contest unless you went in store. This was clever, this is super fun, and again, engaging for the audience, which is a really important part of a Valentine's Day campaign. Number 4, Nina Ricci, My Best Valentine Campaign. Nina Ricci is encouraging their customers to send photos and videos of their best friend and their perfume, and then featuring them across their social media platforms. This was an innovative UGC campaign, gives the power of Valentine's Day to strong women everywhere, said a Nina Ricci spokesperson. So this was sort of a way not to focus on the negative side of Valentine's Day, but to focus on a different side of Valentine's Day. It took a look at their singles, it took a look at their audience and noticed that they had a lot of singles and said, okay, instead of making them feel alone on Valentine's Day, let's remind them that they're never alone because they have their best friend. So if you were a part of the My Best Valentine campaign, even if you were single, you didn't feel alone. Instead, you felt loved and treasured and valued. So what Nina Ricci did here was engage with their audience, promote their brand as being strong, independent women shop here, which is going to make other women want to shop there because they obviously want to be seen as being strong and independent. And also, again, it engaged with the audience and made people feel like they were a part of the campaign rather than being sold to, which was really, really important when it comes to Valentine's Day, but also it's important when it comes to any marketing campaign. Number 5, MeUndies Match MeUndies. MeUndies launched an Instagram campaign asking couples to share photos of themselves wearing their matching underwear sets with the branding hashtag MatchMeUndies. All the cute prints and They then took all of those photos and put them together for a marketing campaign that was shown on the MeUndies Instagram profile, which was just a super cute way to see a bunch of different types of couples, because they didn't just limit it to if you're dating. There was people on there wearing matching underwears with their dogs, with their sisters, with their friends. There were so many different types of couples, and it was great just to remind everybody who followed MeUndies that love is love, and it is everywhere, and even if you're single, it does not mean you are alone. So I don't know if you're catching this, but a lot of these campaigns, a lot of these very famous campaigns, try to focus on the feeling that you're not alone. Even if you're in a couple, they want to remind you that you're not alone. So that's really important when it comes to Valentine's Day marketing. I would say all these top 5 campaigns so far have all been engaging for customers, utilizing various platforms, but also it reminds people that they're not alone, which is such a big part of this holiday and which is such a big part of the marketing for this holiday that I think it's really great that the top 5 most famous campaigns that I was able to find all feature those elements, because that is really, really important. Okay, everyone, we're going to go ahead and take a short break from the podcast, but when we come back, I'm going to give you the last 5 of the most famous marketing campaigns for Valentine's Day. So stay tuned, because you are listening to the GSMC Marketing Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Mackenzie Jaquish, and I'll be right back.
the Golden State Media Concepts Travel Podcast, the show that gives you advice on everything travel. We explore places you've always wanted to go, as well as giving tips for traveling in those places. We'll give you advice on the best sites for travel tips, information, and discounts. Join us as we travel the world, explore cultures, and meet new people. The Golden State Media Concepts Travel Podcast has got you covered. Download the GSMC Travel Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
And welcome back to the GSMC Marketing Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Mackenzie Jaquish, and we are counting down the top 10 most famous marketing campaigns on Valentine's Day. I've had so much fun on today's episode, and I hope you've had a lot of fun too. If you've been enjoying the episode, if you enjoy any episode, please remember to subscribe to this podcast, write a review down below, and connect with us through social media. Today's the day of love, guys. Show me some love. Show the podcast some love. I would really, really appreciate it. Okay, let's get right back into our list. Number 6, the Vermont Teddy Bear Company, 50 Shades of Grey Teddy Bear. So guys, already as I'm describing this, I'm sure thoughts are going through your mind as to what this is. It really was just a Vermont teddy bear dressed up as Christian Grey. It came with him wearing the gray suit, handcuffs, and a mask, which I think is part of one of the 50 Shades of Grey books that they wear a mask. I'm not sure. Anyways, or maybe it's all of them, and I'm just very confused about that movie. Anyways, the Vermont Teddy Bear Company released it because they realized that they were the classic Valentine's Day gift. A lot of people received teddy bears, so they decided to take their branding and combined it with a brand new relevant topic that was going through at the time, which was 50 Shades of Grey. It was a trend. So they took something classic and created a new trend out of it, and people really loved it. Even if you didn't like the movie, even if you had never heard of it, people saw the fun that was in the 50 Shades of Grey Vermont teddy bear, and that's really what the whole campaign was supposed to be, just fun. Number 2, Lush product bundles. So Lush is another sort of cosmetic, like the Body Shop company, and they decided to share their holiday branding by showing you how you can make a last-minute gift guide with Lush product bundles. So very similar to one of the ideas I gave you, Lush used that to say, hey, if you don't know what to get your girlfriend, we got these perfect little pre-made gift bundles from Lush. You just come, pick it up. They're already wrapped and ready to go. So there's different options you could use. There was Cupid's arrow, I only have eyes for you, and lots of love. So there was just love everywhere. Their branding was on point, their naming was on point, and people really loved the last minute gift idea. It was super easy just to pick up. Number 3, Sour Patch Kid, Singles Awareness Day. So the Sour Patch Kids used Single Awareness Day to focus on, like I've been talking about, that negative side of marketing. They wanted to show a world in which it was okay to be single. Not only was it just okay, it should be just as celebrated as Valentine's Day. So they encouraged followers to tweet their biggest romantic mishap using the hashtag SPKSAD. Sour Patch Kids Single Awareness Day. Also very funny, very clever that spells out SPK sad. So this was a huge success, and it was just a great way to engage with their followers, focus on that negative side, but make that negative side not so negative. Number 4, Pizza Hut's engagement package. So Pizza Hut decided to put together their own last-minute gift guide, but it wasn't really last minute or a gift guide. Instead, they were offering a limited edition $10,000 engagement package, which included a ring, fireworks, and limo service. And of course, it included pizza. I love this so much. It was such a great way to say, look, we got some extra marketing dollars this year. What can we do? Let's go big. Let's go big, or let's go home. So that's what they did. And honestly, whoever won this, if you're listening to this podcast, reach out to me. I'd be very interested to see your Pizza Hut engagement photos. Number 10, Starbucks and eHarmony. So on Valentine's Day, a lot of people turn to dating services. And Starbucks is always there for us no matter what. I think we've made that pretty clear. But they're always up on their marketing game is what I'm trying to say. So combining these two companies, one that is something people are going to be constantly using on Valentine's Day, eHarmony, and Starbucks that is always on point with marketing, especially on Valentine's Day, which is super unique and really, really smart on both companies' behalf. So this launched in 2015, this joint campaign. So this campaign ran for a few weeks before until February 13th, which was their official event date, where if you bought the Starbucks coffee, it was combined with an eHarmony sign-up. I'm not sure quite what the rules were on the campaign, but I do know that they ran it mostly on Twitter because both companies have a large Twitter following. Okay, everyone, that is it for today's podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed recording it and hosting it today. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns on anything we talked about on the GSMC Marketing Podcast, please feel free to write them in the review down below or reach out through social media. Until next time, you have been listening to the GSMC Marketing Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Mackenzie Jaquish, and I'll see you next time.
You've been listening to the GSMC Marketing News Podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on SoundCloud, Stitcher, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to any podcast app, and you'll find all of the shows from the GSMC Podcast Network. From movies to music, from sports to entertainment, from business news to weird news, you'll find it all on the GSMC Podcast Network. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.